Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the third episode of the Arelvo podcast. I'm your host, Medchi Alamadin, and we're here celebrating and amplifying Arab American voices as we strengthen our community identity. Today, we're highlighting the meaningful contributions Arab Americans are making in their local communities and beyond. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with Yahya. Yahya, man, good to have you here.
Thank you.
To start off, could you just introduce yourself to the audience and tell us about your background?
Mm. Yes, so appreciate the introduction. My name is Yahya Al-Hassanawi. I was originally born in Iraq right after, the little war. I moved to Michigan when I was 6 years old, not knowing much. Coming to America, it gave me a bunch of new opportunities, but, obviously I never forgot where I came from. I guess a couple things on my background and what I do. I work at a marketing agency that recently helped create Calvin Klein magazines, featuring diverse models and different ideas. Another thing is I also run an e-commerce store called Vital Herbs, where I sell like Shilajit, a natural supplement used for energy and healing. Also, I made a fundraiser where I donated organic Shilajit to people in need of a natural healing supplement all around the world. I helped raise over 7,000. Some other things that I do around my community in general. I helped organize an Islamic rally for Imam Hussein, someone that's really important in my religion. I helped bring over 15,000 people together, which is one of my proudest moments. I tutor kids in math, English, through Come On in my local library, and I also teach Quran in my local masjid. I'm involved in school clubs like Key Club, NHS, and Arab Student Union.
Yeah, wow, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. A lot of work. Good work. So
Thank you.
growing up, you're born in Iraq, right?
Yes.
So like how do your Arab identity shape you and make you like the person you are kind of?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I would say that it shaped me in multiple ways only because like it kind of connected me with a bunch of different people here in Michigan. When I first came to this country, I didn't know any English, I didn't really know a lot of people, but having that connection of, being Arab, it connected me with other Arab people. And that kind of, made me feel like I belong where I am in Michigan. I belong in America because there's other people like me here, you know? And a lot of Arab Americans truly helped me in more than one way. Actually my kindergarten teacher was an Arab American and like coming into kindergarten, not knowing English, it was really nice to have him there and he helped me understand the language, understand the concepts and just overall, I guess understand the country and also where I come from.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Having those people in the journey always helps. Having those people to help always makes
Mhm.
a huge, huge difference. So I
Yeah.
saw you're incoming student at University of Pennsylvania, right?
Mhm.
So just wanted to delve into that and ask about like your passions academically and like what you're majoring in, stuff like that.
hmm yeah, so I guess some of my passions, I'm really interested into going into like a chemistry or like a biology, type of major, inshallah, one day. And the only reason I'm really going deeper into that is because I want to one day maybe become like an orthodontist, something to do with that. And I guess, yeah, like that's really it.
Yeah, I got you. So I mean, obviously you're going to one of the best schools in the nation, right?
hmm
So so just wanted to ask on like projects you're involved in right now. You mentioned like the community work that you're doing. So
hmm
so other projects that you're involved in, the store, you have an e-commerce business, right?
hmm
And how you got started with that and how you got involved.
yeah, so I actually have a little bit of a funny story of how I got involved. It started around when I would say I was like 15. And I was rolled around the internet, looking for different things because like I was always like I wanted to make money, wanted to see what I could do online, and I joined a Discord server, right? Joined
Yeah.
the Discord server, I started talking to some people, and then I met this one guy, his name is Fernando, and he was like, "Hey man, like, would you be interested in starting something?" I was like, I'm young, let me try something new, and I started running, I started doing drop shipping in the beginning. And I had some of them didn't obviously make it, but then after eventually, I gained enough experience, and I was like, I'm gonna start my own shop. And so, I started looking around the internet for something that people need, and I seen that, a lot of people, especially, 2024, 2025 is when I started it, are looking for supplements, natural supplements to help with health and energy. And that's when I found She Legit, and I was like, I think this would be something that succeeds. And, alhamdulillah, it's been going pretty well. We've been having a good amount of sales. Last month we had over, I would say, like it was like 4.5K sales. So we've been doing pretty well.
Yeah, mashallah, bro. That's incredible. So, can you share? I mean, obviously you shared the success with that. Can you share like another success and obviously like you've been successful with that business and like what that feeling brought to you kind of.
hmm well, I guess I'll answer the first one where you said like other types of things. Something that, I find very successful, not just through the fundamentals of like money and everything. I'm a very religious person, I'm Muslim, by the way, and that's something that I, carry with pride and everything. One of my greatest, I feel like, proudest moments of success is, like I talked about earlier, is when I organized an Islamic rally for Imam Hussein. I started it at around, so in Michigan, it's a very common thing where they have like an Islamic rally for Imam Hussein, but it's usually in areas called Canton, right? And I was like, hey, like, this is a very common thing in my home country in Iraq. How can I bring that here? And so, I got in contact with the people that do it in Canton, and I was like, hey, I want to try to, co-organize this here in Dearborn, which is, where I live. And, started spreading around, and it got to the point where, the mayor of Dearborn actually posted on his Facebook and Instagram, and it got very big at around like I would say seventh, eighth grade, and we had like over 15 to 20,000 people show up, and it just became this whole big thing. And now what's amazing is that even after I leave for Pennsylvania, I left my mark in my community, and that's going to be something they're going to be doing every year for however long, you know.
Yeah, for sure, for
And
100%.
mhm. And yeah, I'm sorry, what
Yeah,
was your other question?
I mean, just I you kind of spoke about it, but like that feeling of bringing obviously Imam Hussein, that's it's a big thing. I'm also very religious,
Mm-hmm.
so and I think Michigan, there's a lot of IDOPs over there, right? And
Yes.
here in Chattanooga, I think it's needed. We do have a
hmm
really good community, but it's
hmm
needed to do those campaigns and stuff like that. So what was that
hmm
feeling that after the mayor posted and after bringing and successfully bringing Imam Hussein? Like how did that, what was that feeling to you?
Well, I guess like in a way, I was kind of, I was gonna say I was kind of shocked at first, like seeing it. I was like, because I was still kind of young, I was haven't started high school yet, and I didn't think it would be that big, I just kind of wanted to like make it like, a thing where like maybe 200 people show up, right? And then after I seen that, the mayor posted it, I was kind of astonished by it, but then I was also like, a bunch of my friends would tell me like, nah, like we knew you had this, like we knew you had this in the bag, we knew you could do this. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I can't really say much besides, like, obviously, I was shocked, I was surprised, but alhamdulillah, God, with God's will, like, anything's possible.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, bro. That's obviously amazing that
Mhm,
you did that and like connecting your faith with a big project, right?
mhm,
So So like how does living in like Dearborn, I've seen like on social media like Instagram,
mhm.
LinkedIn, for example, I've seen a lot of people in Dearborn. How does living in Dearborn and I guess living in an Arab American kind of community in America, right?
mhm.
So how does that impact you on like a kind of week to week basis, day to day?
I would say it impacts me, pretty well, especially since, I've visited other states and everything like that. And I've seen that, other states don't necessarily have the Arab community that Michigan has. So obviously, I'm very thankful that my parents moved here, and I'm very thankful to have met the people that I have throughout my journey. And I think that, especially with like such a big and wide variety of different items, like we have Yemenis, Lebanese, Iraqis, Saudis, like we have so many different types of people here. And I feel like Dearborn or just Michigan in a whole kind of brings them all together in one area, and everyone can share their different heritage, their cultures, the different things, and everyone brings something else to the table. And I feel like it's genuinely such a beautiful thing because it not only includes everyone, but I feel like anybody can you can kind of be yourself here, like whoever you are, wherever you come from, you're welcome here and you're able to do whatever you like and you're able to introduce thousands of people to your culture, you know?
Yeah, bro. It's so diverse in Dearborn. I went a couple summers ago in
Mhm,
Dearborn, and it feels like I've been to Lebanon also a couple times. It actually feels like really, I've seen like restaurants. It's like it's authentic and really
mhm,
it's amazing. And
mhm,
I know some places that might be diverse, but the communities are more exclusive rather than inclusive,
mhm.
and there's a lot of stereotypes that play into it, especially to the Arab communities, right?
Yeah.
So it's great to have communities here in in America that are playing a good role connecting like
Mhm,
youth to this community. But what do you think, like, what do you hope Arab American young people can learn from just like the experiences that you've had and your business,
mhm,
your involvement in the community and stuff like that? What
mhm,
do you think like the youth that are probably watching
mhm.
could take away from that?
Yeah. So I guess like one thing that, I would want people listening in to understand is that I feel like you should always be yourself, especially in a world, that is constantly trying to make you something else. Like, I feel like that is truly your greatest accomplishment because it takes strength to resist that pressure of conformity. But I feel like in that resistance, that is like when we truly find ourselves and see the deeper meaning of our existence. I'd actually like to quote someone that I look up to as not only a mentor, but just someone overall that I look up to. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, هو اللي يعرف نفسه يعرف الرب. He who knows himself knows his Lord. And I feel like to know yourself fully is not just growth. It's liberation of like what you believe in and where you come from.
Yeah, 100%, bro. That's actually inspiring to me. I hope the audience is listening to that and gets takes away a lot from that. That's it's really deep, right?
Mhm,
So, I mean, we've talked about your projects, your involvement in
mhm,
Dearborn, right? So, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? You're going to UPenn, and
mhm.
yeah. So, where do you see yourself in the coming future?
Yeah, so inshallah in the coming future in 5 to 10 years, I see myself, walking into my clinic, not just as like an orthodontist, but like as a leader and role model to my community of wherever I choose to live. I want to grow into someone who's like constantly learning, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. I feel like I really want to be a man of purpose, not just in success. And overall, like my dreams just isn't about like career goals. It's just truly about becoming the best version of myself.
Yeah,
And
bro.
that's it, man.
Yeah, man. I can take like I'm really inspired, honestly, just from this conversation.
Mhm,
Uh, a kind of like a follow-up question. How do you think like we like even like me and obviously the audience, how do you think we can play like a role in advancing representation and and us like getting involved into our community?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say the first thing is, obviously like you should always show up and speak up in business, in media, and leadership in any way possible. Like, your voice matters. And I feel like representation means more than just being seen. It kind of means like being understood and respected, Like we can mentor each other, uplift one another, support each other so that like no Arab American ever feels alone, because like when we stand together, that's when our presence becomes our power.
Yeah, yeah, bro. Yeah, I feel like representation's not just something like if we go campaign or go advocate for something, it has to
Mhm,
have like impact and it has to people need to see and understand. It doesn't need to be, for example, like if you're advocating for legislation or something in your state,
mhm,
like I'm in Tennessee, it's not
mhm,
about the end goal, it's about people understanding or maybe changing their understanding about something or changing their opinion, right?
mhm,
Instead of like forcing it on people, right? It's about the
mhm.
impact. So,
Yeah, 100%.
so yeah, yeah, bro. So yeah, this has been inspiring conversation. Like I said,
Mhm.
your work and your vision is inspiring. And before
Thank
we
you.
wrap up, I want to just give you just another chance to speak to our listeners.
Mhm.
So, what message would you like to share with young Arab Americans who might be listening, especially those who are navigating their own journey, maybe right now?
Mm.
and in the future, right?
Yeah. So I guess like one message, to all the young Arab Americans listening today, I just kind of want to remind you that your journey is shaped, by the strength of your history, the depths of your identity, and the dreams you carry forward. Like I feel like you should really embrace your culture, and that means accepting all parts of yourself, the language, the stories, the struggles, the celebrations, especially in a world that often asks you between who you are and who you want to be. Holding on to your heritage is overall just an act of courage. And I feel like your culture is not a burden, but you should use it as a source of strength that grounds you and like connects you to many generations before you. And I feel like when honoring that, that's where you find the power to define where you are going in life. And lastly, I feel like you should always remember that true strength comes from being authentic within yourself, dreaming boldly and knowing where you belong fully without apology. And I feel like you should never apologize for who you are.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Yahya,
Mhm.
for sharing your story and your great advice, honestly, today. Your commitment to your community and our community in Arab America is incredible. I know our listeners will be excited to follow up with you and your journey at UPenn.
Mhm.
And and yeah, I think that's it for the Revel podcast and
All
this
right. Well, I
episode.
appreciate you for having me. Appreciate you for
Yeah,
having me.
appreciate you, man. Thank you.